Now don't forget to download it before turning off the computer.
Yeah, I will.
This time. So I also need to have permission to share screen.
Okay.
But hi guys.
People.
Some people know me. I make games sometimes. I'm president of the game development club here. And I've been working on games for it's like 2015, 16.
You're gonna have to speak up because it's mic.
I have to yell now? Oh my God.
I mean, just talk. No,
Or you can mute that one and I can do my mic up here. But then we'll be able to go to class, huh? No, it's fine. Because now we're good. Because then the
You could probably take your mask off when you're 6 feet away, right?
I'm vaccine fully too, so technically, but it's fine. I'll just learn to talk loud. If I'm quiet, let me know. Yeah, but okay, I can share screen. Cool. So should I start from just what I started doing, or
So
what I use, how I go about doing it, or
first, let's do an overview of the project for the games club. Basically, like what it's about.
okay, I said not sure.
So right now we're working on a train. It's called Railroad Defender, and you're protecting a train in space.
Yes.
And it's top down. You can control characters that shoot different types of weapons. Right now we have pistol and shotgun set up, right?
Yeah, this is the base game. Let me do full screen on what I can do. Shows up big. You have different characters that you can switch between and purchase. You have to defend your train from enemies that are trying to take your cargo. So the plan is the idea is you're not playing as one of the characters, it's played with an AI. But so far we just have, we just play as them.
You have to switch back and forth.
Yeah, you can switch back and forth right now, but yeah. And then certain enemies will have different things they're gonna try to do, like these ones shoot at you, but there are other ones that go and try to take their cargo from you, and there's gonna be other ones that complement other enemies, make it harder for you. Yeah, these are little cargo, and it takes a certain amount of time for different enemies to take different cargo. You see on the left side, we have our cargo amount, we have 10 out of 10. So these little ones will probably have a weight of like 2 or 3. This one has like a weight of like 5 or something, I think. Let me check. The size of it is how valuable the cargo is. Let's see. Great. Yeah, so yeah, weight 6 and then 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that's the whole thing. But this is like your little cargo area. Down here, and they can spawn in any of these spots. They get a random weight assigned to them. And the enemies come in waves. And at the end of a certain amount of waves, then the level will end. And you'll be able to go to a shop level. I made a little placeholder shop scene until we get actual art. So, full screen, yeah. So these are the little items that you're gonna be able to buy, like upgrades and stuff like that. These are more characters that you can unlock and switch between. This is a random shopkeeper who actually sells you the stuff. And then I made like a little test dialogue box that we're gonna have to make actual art for later on for everything. You know.
The stats of the characters will be randomized, right?
I think we want to like design characters and then just pull randomly from those designed characters.
Okay.
That way we can have more personalized, like this is this character, you know what he's like every time.
Like role that you fill. Heavy guy, a light guy.
What's up?
Talking about like roles.
Well,
Characters fill.
I think the only thing they're gonna have difference is the type of weapon they use.
Weapons? I don't
Maybe
know if we
how-
want to have multiple weapon types on a single character yet, like a primary and secondary. We don't know yet.
Yeah, but
It's debatable.
maybe health can be different.
Yeah, hopefully different health and speed and stuff like that. So
So
like,
somebody might have a weapon that shoots in a larger area, but not as quickly, or someone shoots
Yeah.
only straight ahead, but very quickly or something.
yeah, like this main character has a pistol, but he's probably like all around like average, but his pistol is like weaker. And then the character with the shotgun would be like slower, but he has a heavier, it does more damage and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
And if you had a secondary weapon, it might be like an explosive or something like that. But
that's still up in the air.
yeah, we still got to
Can
design
you shoot
it.
each other,
So,
friendly fire?
not yet.
You want them to be able to do that?
Possible. That would be interesting. The problem is if you're not playing as them, they're gonna be played as with an AI.
Uh-huh.
You don't want
You don't want.
you don't want the AI to accidentally shoot in the face. That would be kind of dumb game design, probably, but possible. So gotta get everything working first, and then we can add more complexity and stuff later.
Right.
Yeah. Anybody who's not used the game engine before, this looks like a whole mess, but yeah, this is the Unity game engine, in case you're wondering.
We need
We're
artists.
making it on. So we need artists, yeah, because that's what I'm doing kind of now. So that's fun. I'm not an artist, I'm a programmer, so this is like,
So if you do 2D art top down.
not good, not good.
Yeah, cool.
You have questions about what we're doing or how we're doing it or
Yeah, how'd you start? What was like the first thing that you did?
I read it?
Like for this game?
This
What was
game,
your
for this game,
step
first,
in Unity? What did you establish first in Unity?
the player moving.
The player movie?
Player moving, yeah. So I got the player controller set up. I'm gonna go to the regular scene. When we started this project, we were debating whether or not we wanted to do 3D or 2D. So actually we have a test thing in 3D that's
Oh, very
buggy as hell. Because the problem with 3D is we wanted the train to move through a level in a certain way, like along a path.
Uh-huh.
But the problem is when you have a big ass train, when you have a train with multiple like cars following behind it, they would be childed to one another, but their movement's not gonna follow each other because then it looks stiff, and when it rotates, then it looks very strange.
So you just,
So it's very hard to set up.
why not just get every car to run independently? Visually, it looks like they're connected, but independently, they all run exactly the same. So you really
Problem is
only,
their rotation.
well, if they would all behave the same, because essentially a train would mean every car will behave the same at a certain point on the track.
Yeah,
So it doesn't matter how long or how short it is, it's essentially just a bunch of individual trains that look like they're connected. So they all run identical. So as long as you get one mastered, you clone it, make your train as long as you want, cuts out all the difficulty of having to make it look real.
feel like I tried something like that in the beginning, like do the simplest way to do it. And then if later on we figure out a way to make it look nice and work nice, then we can do it that way.
You could always put it on, do what Bethesda did for Fallout, which is make the train a hat for a character that ran, and you just hide the characters in the ground.
Yeah, game dev hacks.
So that's
Those
a
are always
really
fun to
interesting
find out.
strategy they use to make their train look realistic.
Follow.
Yeah, that's what they really did. The train cars are all hats placed on NPCs, and the NPCs are in the ground, and they run on a path. And the train is on their head.
Just can't see it.
And you can't see it. It's video game magic. It works really well.
I gotta play Fallout 4 to see them.
It's Fallout 3 in one of the DLCs in Fallout 3 that they have a big subway section.
It'd be in New Vegas
Call.
too, or no?
Maybe.
No.
Yeah, it probably work. And then there's a lot of other 3D stuff that we could have done and messed around with, but I ended up wanting to do 2D just because I always end up doing 2D stuff and I like 2D.
So how do you get a character to move?
To move in this one,
Yeah, like let's say you start a new project right now and you show us how to make your character move in Unity.
3D or 2D?
2D.
Just open up the third control.
I can make a new thing right now. I have a new project right now that I can do. Let me. You can just make a circle.
Would it be easier to work in 2D versus 3D?
Yeah, you ignore a whole third axis. There's simpler collisions and stuff like that. 2D is always going to be easier than 3D.
What would be
I
neat is it's a 2D game, but collisions cause a third dimensional object to like pop towards the screen or something like that. So it's like a hybrid game where you think it's 2D, but some things operate in 3D.
So it's kind of like Paper Mario.
Yeah, like Paper Mario.
Or Smash Bros.
Yeah, or Smash Brothers.
So basically, I'm adding components to my player. Adding a rigid body 2D, which is gonna push the player up and down, left and right, and I'm adding a.
So are these assets that you pre-configured or this comes
This
right
is a
out of the
Unity.
box?
This is a Unity.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm gonna add a circle collider,
Um,
and it automatically goes around the player.
in the YouTube, I posted Cole's playlist where I think the first lecture is all about,
How Unity works.
Yeah,
and- Yeah, and I made this, so one thing I made is this player controller script, which I just right-clicked. Wait, C# script. We open it, it's Visual Studio. And it starts with a start function and an update function. Start is called at the very beginning, once the thing is spawned, and update is called every frame. So I'm gonna do variable for their speed and okay, they back to 2 for input. Just gonna say if input dot. So I'm gonna say input equals. We're gonna get Unity's default input. There's a thing called horizontal, which is A and D and the left and right keys.
Nice.
And input dot X is vertical. These are already set up to work with controllers too. So left, right, up, and down with controller will work too in this case if you plug in a controller. Dot X is not equal.
That's the beauty of using an engine instead of going and pre-programming an entire game from scratch.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. You can also get a reference to the rigid body. They use get component. And force. There you go. Basically saying, if I push either A or D or left or right, then take this component and I'm gonna push it to the right times whatever my input is. So if it's like A, then it's gonna go to the left. If it's D, it's gonna go to the right. Times my speed times time. This just makes it so that it doesn't fly off the screen if it's if there's any lag or anything. So then I'm gonna paste it again. Change it to Y. I'll change it to vector 2 dot up. Change it to input dot Y. It should work once I put a value for speed. Like 500.
500 what?
I feel like they do it in meters per second, maybe. That's fast, but my thing is that I don't know. Let's see what it looks like. See on the camera. Also, this camera color is ugly, so I'm gonna change it to like a gray, which is still ugly, but whatever. So this thing is getting my way now. There you go. Yep.
That's so awesome. Just like that, dude. Boom, you gave a character some life.
The only problem now is if I push the button and I let go, it doesn't stop because there's no friction. So if I want friction, I'll just go to my rigid body and I'll change its linear drag to like 5.
That's max.
And then it moves it and stops. So I want numbers that are really big because then it doesn't stop immediately.
So you can feel more like responsive.
Yeah,
Get up and go quicker, slow down faster.
yeah, so that feels better. Problem is now when I quit out of the game, it's not gonna save
So
because I'm.
now, can you set up a timer that goes on a beat? Bam, 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 and you only move, bam, bam on the beat.
The problem with all of the game you guys are talking about is getting it to sync up right and getting it to sync up right with everybody else that's playing it.
Yeah,
That's gonna be the hardest part, I think.
well, netcode is super.
Netcode is-
complicated, right?
God.
So it'd have to be something that's local, like couch co-op, to eliminate that, and then you just have to sync up with only one machine.
Yeah, be the easier way to do it. Yeah. Let me see. So
Which is why I think most rhythm games are single player. Right? 'Cause it's just so hard with latency, and desync being an issue to do something like over the internet. When we get maybe superconductors into our electronics, so you get down to nanoseconds instead of milliseconds for ping.
I also feel like having the clashing music competitive would be kind of hard to set up in a way that people don't hate.
Right, and there would be some
Wow.
subjectiveness to it that we'd have to
Yeah.
work with, but
Yeah,
it has a lot of potential.
doable. Yeah.
So
That's
just
how
like
I-
that, it's that easy. You can create a stage, create a character, add movement, add some properties to it, boom, there you go.
That's the game, yeah. So yeah, I just started by setting up the player movement on here. It looks pretty similar, I think.
How'd you register boundaries? So you don't like fly outside the train car?
I just added walls to the outside of the train.
That's just an in Unity thing?
Just
like add-
colliders. Yeah, you see these little green
Okay.
boxes. Those are just colliders. So, and the enemies stop before they hit them. But I can also set up like a collision matrix to make them go through and stuff. It's weird. Physics 2D. Yeah, there's this whole thing that you can do too, where it's like the enemy is not gonna hit the player or something. So the enemy goes through the train in this case.
Okay,
But yeah, it registers kind of weird.
that's really cool. What colliders it ignores and what it doesn't.
Man, this is the input thing that I was talking
So
about.
you can set up a train car to have maybe doors, the collider opens
Yeah,
and like,
I did that with the horror game last semester.
oh man,
Where
that's
you
awesome.
have doors that you have to open and go through and have to find keys for them and stuff. But yeah, I downloaded a bunch of my games and I have a bunch that are playable in the browser to show off if you guys want to see them.
What's your favorite?
My favorite that I did? I think every game that I make most recently is my favorite.
Every time you go, so you just really like what you're doing, and every time you do something new, you're like, I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
this.
I think so.
so what's Coffin Drop then?
Coffin Drop's the last Lavender game I did.
That sounds like a COVID thing. You
Which-
cough and then you drop.
Oh, please, jam. So this is a game jam that I do like every single time it shows up. It happens like twice a year. The next one's happening in 2 weeks, so I'm gonna die in 2 weeks. Then we can take a week.
Good luck, dude.
Yeah,
You can do it, you can do it.
So those are 72-hour game jams. And a game jam is basically you have a certain amount of time and you're usually given a theme and you have to make a game in that time. So Lavender is the one that I always do. Like if I go to the page.
So what's the hardest part about doing a game jam? Coming up with an original idea?
Constraints.
Or actually building it?
Constraints. Like making sure you don't make this like really big list of, things you want to add to your game that's really complicated and things you haven't done before and yeah.
Unless you have a team.
Unless you have a team, but then you still have to kind of limit yourself.
Yeah,
It's only
well,
2
there's,
days.
no matter how big your project is, you always have constraints. That's why Cyberpunk had all those bugs when it first launched and they have to work so hard to fix it. Because
Yeah.
constraints are real no matter how big.
There you go. Okay, this one's the one I did last time. The theme was deeper and deeper. So I made a game where you play as someone who, what are they called? They tend to graves.
Oh,
Grave keeper, yeah, grave digger. I mean, I thought there was a better word for it.
Groundskeeper?
Groundskeeper probably, yeah, it's probably a better word. But yeah, so you have these bodies that you have to bury, but they can come back to life. So you have to take them and you have to dig holes. You have to bury them. But eventually they come back to life still, like they're all alive now. So you have to kill them again and then bury them and then they come back to life again. And you have to bury them. And it's just never ending. So if you die, then you lose. And if this whole top part of the screen is filled up all the way with graves, then you lose too. So yeah. I like how I did the throwing mechanic in this one. Because you can just chuck the items at the zombies and kill them.
And then you pick it back up. Now that's cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can kill them with themselves.
It's almost like gravity gun status from Half-Life.
Yeah, it's great. So I spent a long time doing that and making it feel nice.
It looks really nice.
Oh shit.
Give me a lot of the early 2000s Flash games vibes.
Yeah.
It's totally something I'd play when I was like 6 years old.
Shit.
I mean, really, the only difference between like simple game and fancy game is just when you start getting into more complicated interaction,
Yeah.
making it a 3D
And
world.
a lot more polished.
Adding photorealism or something, but the basics of the games are all really similar.
It's that one. I have all my controls. I have sound, music settings on here. So if my music's too loud, then all the way.
They're eating you.
Yeah, they don't like me.
What happens when they eat you?
You die.
Nice.
And you see credits. I didn't make the tile set for this, but I made the zombies and I made the shovel and the gun and stuff. So I made some of the art. I made like this, and this, and the zombie. And then the rest is just candy assets. Which
Are those bitmaps that you have to import, or are they JPEGs, or what?
PNGs, spreadsheets, sometimes spreadsheets. This guy's who I get a lot of free assets from. He has all this stuff up for free, and you can get 2D or 3D stuff.
And all you have to do is sort of just credit them.
I don't think you have to credit them.
Oh, you don't?
It depends what license they have. This one, I don't think he cares.
Oh, really?
He likes it. I mean, obviously, if you do that, but yeah. But yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I made a time lapse. I streamed the entire time I made that game on Twitch the whole weekend.
Oh, you.
So I have a whole freaking video on it.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, just a time lapse. Huh?
Yeah,
You watch your little, I made a game stream.
yeah. I had some friends watching me while I was streaming, and they were requesting random weird music the whole time.
Sure.
So like the actual streams got muted for the most part.
Because
But like I have the whole video thing, so it's like I'll just make a whole video out of it. So yeah, this is how you add the assets, the art stuff to it. So you see it's a big PNG.
oh, they're all PNGs.
Yeah, they're all PNGs that you bring into the game. I'm going frame by frame right now. I made a new folder and I added I'm organizing my folders real quick.
Why does that have to be a PNG? Why not a JPEG?
It can be a JPEG. I just like PNGs because they can do transparent backgrounds.
Yeah,
So if you have a character that you draw and you have a white thing around him, it looks,
It looks bad.
yeah, you don't want that. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. And then this is cool because this is a sprite sheet, they call it, where it has a bunch of sprites in one big PNG. And in Unity, you can slice it into different PNGs with like 2 clicks. So like, I'm just saying in here, each PNG should be this big. So 32 by 32 or 64 by 64. What is that?
So you can sort of just cookie cut whatever you want.
Yeah.
Sort of paste it somewhere.
Exactly. So, oh yeah, and I was trying to find out how big the things were for a second. Oh. Yeah. And then it makes a whole grid of them on the bottom left there, so you can just see.
So you just click and drag into your world.
Yep, and there's a tile palette thing they have now in Unity where you don't have to drag each PNG in every time. You can literally like draw it on like the map. So it's really cool. Makes it easier if you know how to make tile sets.
So when it comes to building a game now for you, how much of it involves actual coding and how much of it is working with like pre-made assets?
I like to, I'm the programmer, so I do most of the stuff on my own.
Yeah, it's like I'm not a programmer, and I don't want to be a programmer, really.
You can get around it most of the time. You don't have to know too much about the programming because you can look up tutorials and stuff and find out.
Well, I would more want to be on a team where the programmer is
Yeah.
like the A team, like,
Yeah.
Murdoch does explosives or something. I don't know.
Yeah, like I work with my brother who does the art a lot of the time, and I have a friend who does all the audio. But my brother wasn't available during this. He doesn't, like to not sleep. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, for sure.
but I just do this every time now, so I'm just used to it. But yeah, you'll see on this most of the time you're seeing that I'm on Visual Studio scripting everything. Because I care more about the programming and the gameplay than how the art looks.
Yeah,
Because I know my art's gonna be shit either way, so I might as well make the game fun if I can. So. I'm going back and forth and testing everything to make sure it worked.
well, even still, I mean, it's not really that, it's not poor looking.
Debatable. I had to learn how to do top-down art, which I still have to practice, and I have to make more of top-down art for the club game since we have an artist, so,
We need artists.
yeah.
For those who are watching on Zoom, we need artists.
Need art. Oh, well, that's maybe that one.
Well, I'm really enjoying 3D modeling, so if you ever get it, if there's ever a way to convert like 3D to 2D or something, you're gonna need 3D models. Like I'm having a lot of fun sculpting and painting.
Okay.
Although I'm not,
One time I did a game jam with a bunch of people, and the artist we had was, we had two artists, and one of them was 3D. So he just made his like Blender stuff, and he made it like flat, and then he just like
well, yeah.
exported it that way, so he just squished it down. So,
Just push it between two canes and just call it a day.
there's me making art for the longest time. What do you want for me to like?
Yeah, asset creation is a huge part of video game development and movies and so that it's just asset creation. Making the models, making the skeletons, animating them in cycles so you can just load it.
One of the hardest part, if you're in a team of artists, is having consistent art stuff. Yeah.
Style, yeah.
Yeah, I'm having that trouble right now. My brother and my friend are working on a game with me, and my friend does digital concept art. My brother does pixel art. My brother has to learn pixel art to match the art style now. So, yeah, so now he's learning Clip Studio Paint. So it's a whole mess. Yeah. That's the whole thing. Yeah, that's one of my games.
That's kind of cool.
I have this many more.
So those are a lot of original ideas you came up with. What, what do you do for inspiration for like getting your next game idea? Do you like go into a closet, meditate? Do you like
A lot of them are straight from the game jams. So the theme gives you the idea a lot of the time.
Something
Like I made, I wanted to make a 3D game the time before last. So the theme was stuck in a loop, I think.
like a time loop.
Yeah, so my loop was you're stuck in this forest, like in like the Lost Woods type deal. Yeah, I didn't want to have to animate these things, so I
Yeah,
didn't
they're
animate
bullet
these
flames.
things. Let me reset actually. Let me do easy mode. Make easy mode after so people could not complain about it being hard. Do you have full screen? Do I have more? I don't have more guns. I'm gonna be used to.
You just have a timber blocks.
Yep. I think these are also canny assets. I think before I get rid of the gun setup. So after you beat all the enemies around you, this little paper, and it says a hint of where to go, a lonely path. So I have to go to the place where there's nothing.
Right, interesting.
And then I can do unlock all. So this doesn't show up unless you're in easy mode. So I also have a shotgun. And I have a sniper rifle.
Did it scope?
Hey.
It pierces, it does not scope. And this is the best gun because it's like super fast.
Of course.
Sweet aromas. So flowers, or is that mushrooms? I think it's flowers. I don't know why mushrooms, don't ask. But yeah,
Okay, so it's kind of like a Smash TV thing. You go into a room, you fight enemies, you progress to the next room.
yeah,
So a little bit of puzzle element involved.
a little bit.
Pretty cool.
Overgrown path is this one, and I have two sections in this. I have a forest and I have a graveyard section. But I wanted to make a 3D game, and then I was like, why don't I make like an FPS thing? I originally wanted to make a 3D game with 2D sprites, but I was like, I don't want to make
Okay, so are your bullets hit scan or did you actually put projectiles?
projectiles.
They're actual projectiles?
Yeah, you can see them flying around.
No, so it's a bit of drop off.
Yeah.
Or are they affected by
No
physics?
drop off, but
No drop off.
Okay, so they take time to travel, but they go where you're aiming.
yes. Also, I think you can cheese the enemies by just jumping up here. Yeah, you can just, although I could try to jump up.
Not exactly against again, but it's sort of a laser beam in a way.
Sort of, it depends on how close you are.
It's just very fast.
Oh,
There's an enemy still?
stuff on a rock.
Where's the enemy at?
Can they spawn out of bounds?
They cannot.
Can you clip out?
Where the hell?
I think we discovered a bug.
Oh, there he is. He got stuck on the rock. Speed aromas again. Yeah, let me just get to the graveyard. I made it longer, Jesus. Shit.
So then a game, an iterative system for a game development like this would be, okay, now that you have very basic game done, now you just add variety.
Yeah, like I added the second area that it works the same way, but there's different hits. So. added.
I just want to mention the frame droppage is from Zoom, not from the actual game.
Oh, like I hope not, it's the laptop.
I just want to ask, if you kill 30 zombies in a row, do you unlock the RPG?
You do not know.
Well, you could, I mean, you could always put an achievement system in or something. You've killed 5 with 1 shot, you know.
I forget if that was.
There tends to be a game element where what you needed to fight in a certain situation is in the reward you get for getting through the situation. It's kind of backwards. Like I really could have used this rocket launcher before, but they gave it to me for beating this where I could have used it.
Yeah. So just the different themes give me the ideas for the games. This one was a game for software development that I did with the group. This is for game programming where I made a little tiny RPG. So I was testing out how to do like quests and inventory systems between scenes and stuff like that. This was one of the quizzes I think in game programming. I don't know. I went kind of hard on that one. This one's theme was
Space.
shit. No, what was it?
Is there a game jam just solely based on memes, or is that just?
Yeah, I bet there happened.
Okay.
So it was Keep It Alive.
Meme jam.
That's what it was.
Meme jam.
Let's keep it alive. So the point of this one was you're low on fuel and you have to go around the map and grab more fuel and get to the exit. So that was good. This is the one I did for Mobile Game Jam, which I went to UC Riverside January 2020, and they set us up in like groups. You made your game there. And I had to work with like 10 different people on this one. So it was like a whole mess.
So do you sign up to fill a certain role in the development team and then pair you up with people, or what?
Basically,
Like you walk in there and say, I'm a musician, so.
yes.
And you
Exactly what happened.
need music, I'm your guy, and you're like to do like, you need code, I'm your guy.
Yeah. And they were like, oh, you've used this before, you've done this like 10 times before, you're gonna be like the lead programmer. I'm like, I guess. So basically what I did was I told everybody else what they should be doing. Like you need to make this projectile, you need to set up health, declare movement, stuff like that. And then once they did it, they would all push it to GitHub. So we all had access to it.
Yeah.
And then I would grab it and I would fix it because their stuff did not work well together. So yeah, they would like break. And then they didn't know how to use GitHub either. So they would just like give it to me in different ways
Yeah.
after that. So yeah.
So the first draft kind of just looked like a really sloppy sandwich until the revisions, right?
Yeah, they're sloppy for most of them until you get to the end. But it depends what you're focusing on. So like for the most part for me, I just focus on the gameplay first and then the art comes second. So I try to make it fun and then I do the art later on. In this main project I'm doing with my brother and 2 of my friends, you're playing as this space marine and you're on a planet full of giant bugs. You gotta kill them all, basically.
That's nice.
Yeah, so I'm trying to make the gameplay good. First off, well, this is really not too good at all. I'm trying to set up the AI right now to make it nice. So when you get close enough to them, then they start going after you. Oh, yeah, there you go. And you have different weapons you can
So
use.
you set up their ability to sense you on proximity?
Yes.
Have you worked with camera systems or like visual fields? Like, more acute in front, but they can't see to the sides? Or maybe they can see a little bit behind them. or
There's a
something.
little cheesy way that I did it in this. I used the collider in front of the enemy. And if the player goes into this collider,
That's how
then
they
they can
see
see them.
Okay, that
Just because I didn't want to have to check and do raycasts every frame. Because then if you have like 10 enemies that are all doing raycasts at the same time, then it gets kind of heavy on the computer.
So how do they do it for bigger games, like Alien Isolation? They have like this camera with this field of vision does this task. He's got a little one behind him, so if you're sneaking up on him, he can tell you're stepping on his
That's
tail.
very complicated AI. But also in Alien, it's just the one, most of the time, it's mostly just the one enemy, right?
Well, yeah.
There's the
and
other
then
dudes that
few-
go
a
around.
few other NPCs, but
Yeah.
really, the character is limited.
But they're probably simpler AI than the Alien, right? I would imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine so. So you're saying something like this could be more computationally expensive than like a good efficient AI?
Could be,
Wow.
could be. Yeah, it's also why games don't have everything loaded in at once. They load chunks of the
Oh,
game in
yeah,
at a
yeah.
time.
True.
So I need to figure out how to do that next in this. I'm setting up checkpoints and I have to set the checkpoints up to actually enable and disable different game objects, so it doesn't take too much space.
Yeah.
So that's fun. I'm doing that along with save data. I haven't actually,
Oh, save data.
I haven't actually done save data in a game before. I've done it where I've saved stuff between scenes, but I haven't done it where you save stuff between game loads on your computer.
Yeah, that's gonna be really
Like that.
interesting, because we know that like Bethesda has that problem with save game bloat. As you discover objects in the game, they become persistent. And
Yeah,
then they're stuck there
Yeah.
in memory, so your file gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
you know about Oblivion?
Yep.
The save, where every time you load a new scene, then it like reboots the game over again.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fun. That's cheated. There was another game that did that recently. Is it also Bethesda? But it also reboots the game when you load another scene, like it resets the whole thing. Just to save memory, but yeah, I'm doing save data for this game and for the club game, because you have to be able to save which unlocks you get between scenes, stuff like that too, and what level you're on. So it gets harder as you go along, so we have to be able to calculate how
And
many
you can
enemies
see
you
some
spawn.
games, their ability to quick save, quick load,
It's
and save
kind
and
of
load
insane.
is so fast.
Yeah. Kind of
And all that
insane.
information, all of it, like bam, it's done. Like, wow, how do they do
It's crazy. It's too much stuff, too hard. Games are not easy to make. I don't, anybody tells you.
It's up, it's 4:40.
Gotcha. This is a game actually, I don't know if it's playable single player. When I was going to Chafee, I was president of the game dev club over there too. We made this multiplayer game. 2019, there you go. Except for it's 2 players, so I don't know if it's gonna work. Yeah, you can color your little tank.
Nice.
Play. I'm gonna only control, yeah, only one dude controls, and I can't rotate because I have no controller, so. Yeah, it's a little weird. Actually, I wonder if it works.
Is it responding better on your computer, or is it actually that? It seems to be a little irresponsive to you.
Yeah, I think it's the lag is from Zoom, not
Yeah.
from his computer.
It's a lot smoother on your computer, right?
Yeah, it's just Zoom.
Like so bad Zoom.
It should work, but. I brought a controller, but it's like a weird, like SNES controller or something. That works.
Oh, that's tight.
Although the controls aren't quite what I want them to be. It's a weird setup. Yeah, the goal of this game is obviously to shoot a new player.
I like how it zooms in as it keeps the characters in the frame.
Yes,
So if you're close together, it zooms in.
exactly what it
So a
does.
little
It
bit more
keeps
dynamic.
all players in the scene at the same time or in the camera view. Come on. Piece of shit.
See, this is one of the issues I was thinking about when if you're controlling the rhythm-based characters and they can only aim at certain directions. You're having to get these awkward angles to hit each other.
Yeah, it's just because it's not, the controller is not connecting. It's connected, but it's in like a weird way. Where like I'm not moving the control stick to aim where I should be. Also, it takes like 10 times longer to make a thing with a group than it does by yourself usually, unless all of you in the group are doing
Different things.
consistent work.
Yeah, very good.
Consistent work.
Very consistent, yeah.
Because this took like a whole like semester and a half to do because only I was doing the programming. I kept on telling people what they could do for the programming to help out, and then they would take like a month and then not tell me anything, and then I would just be like, I guess I'll have to do it.
You're doing it for school, right?
Yeah, it was for the game development club at JP.
Most people tend to treat school as like on the back burner.
Well-
Compared to like family, romance and jobs and things like that, so.
But making games is fun.
Yeah, you're just not gonna get the same kind of enthusiasm from most students.
Yeah.
Most of the time,
I'm waiting for some students that have,
or they're stressed out about a tough exam or a tougher
Yeah.
class, and they consider like this is a little bit like on the back burner because of just.
I'm just waiting for guys to actually like join that want to do stuff.
The thing about computer science in general is like the reward is way later than like art or music where you get that instant feedback of like gratification.
Yeah. But you'll have a different experience when you're actually on a team where you guys are working on something on a regular basis.
Together, yes, like multiple times a week,
Yeah,
certain hours a day, then yeah, you'll get a lot more done. Because if I can do a game like Coffin Drop in 3 days, which is, it was literally about 15 hours or something, when you're actually working on it, then imagine what a team could do in like, you know, regular work schedule.
Yeah.
So,
use things like Outer Wilds.
yeah, the game. But yeah, all the games that I showed so far were all in Unity. This one is these two that I'm gonna show right now are in an engine called Pico 8 engine. Pico 8. That's what this thing runs off of.
Oh, it's like a Raspberry
It
Pi,
has on it. Yeah,
little 8-bit
it
system.
has a little Raspberry Pi right there,
Yeah.
literally. Yes, I made this little game for Christmas just because I
Is
didn't
it
have a
just
Christmas.
dodge
game.
the snow?
It's just dodge the snow. That's all it is. There's actually no collisions with the ground. Your character is like floating, but I just put ground underneath them.
Yeah,
So I
but
just
there's
shoot
no, yeah, because you can't go any further. so
Yeah.
whatever.
You can't jump if you lose it. Yep, not good enough.
What's good enough?
Nothing. Nothing is good enough.
Just how brutal that is, like, it's on game art, you shouldn't do good enough.
Yeah. This engine is cool because it has all these like, it's purposefully limiting what you can do with it to make it more stylized. Like
So
it
it
looks
just-
like,
It just leaves more room for imagination.
yeah, right? It's perfect. I don't have a thing I can explore in here. But
So Pico, not related to the Newgrounds Pico, right?
I don't know. Not cool, actually.
Man, this is so much better than system admin class.
Right. I don't have any things downloaded on here. 'Cause I just downloaded it like 2 classes ago. So I don't remember how to set up a new thing. I know how to set up on here, but yeah. And then I made this thing for class, which is like a random generator thing. It just like makes pretty colors. Let's see if I start it up. I think I paused it.
Oh, cool.
Makes pretty colors. You could call that a dungeon generator.
Yeah, like depending on what you did with that information represents, like you're procedurally generating.
And you can change this to make it more lines, more pixely,
Like light right, oh, that's awesome, like living light
like
right.
that, goes faster around. You can do circle, yeah, draw circles instead of pixels. Yeah, let's do 3 circle. Yeah, it's not a game, but it's,
You could kind of almost use that to study certain parts of biology.
possibly, yeah. That was generate, oh, this one I couldn't load before because it loaded automatically. This one's a game maker game. A space shooter game maker. Yep, Game Maker Studio. I just fitted it to a screen, to a little like window, make it look fancier.
You compose your music too?
I forget what this music was. I have a friend that makes a bunch of my music, but this one I think I found online or something. Doesn't sound like me and it doesn't sound like him. But yeah, Game Maker interesting. I like Unity more because I just used it a lot more. And yeah. Plus they have GameMaker Studio 2 now, which has a weirder setup that I'm not used to at all. And I don't want to have to learn a whole new game engine to try it out.
Yeah,
But yeah. Yeah.
I do wonder about Unreal versus Unity in 3D, especially with lighting sources.
Unreal has a lot better lighting. It's also a lot more complicated to set up. In-game
Wow.
stuff. What's up?
Like if you had to choose, you had to start all over. You don't know Unity and you don't know anything, except you have this feeling on what would be better to learn from the ground up.
Well, honestly, I think Unreal's better to learn because more of the industries use it. But I like I like Unity better because it's better, like it's more user friendly. So it can still be complicated, but Unreal seems like it has like 18 different things you have to learn and master before you can do something really good. But I haven't done it too much, so.
So Unity would be just more easier to pick up
Yes.
versus Unreal.
There's a bunch of different engines you can try out. Like there's
Is Source Engine open?
probably, isn't it?
I don't know.
I feel like it is. Game engines.
Because I hear people been tinkering with the new source engine, Source 2. So I don't know if that's anything.
I don't know. Let's see.
Godot.
Godot is a good engine. Yeah, it's easy to learn.
Interesting. Named after the character from I can't believe I can't remember the screenwriter's name.
If there's three engines people argue about all the time,
Yeah,
it's Unity, Unreal, and Godot. Because Godot is like the middle ground. Everyone likes this fancy new thing that's not really hard to learn, but I haven't done much of it yet. I need to. Unity, there you go. It's me. Unreal Engine,
Cry Engine. That one's gonna be interesting.
Default. I'll show the ones I know, which I don't think they're gonna. Oh, Phaser I might have touched once. Game Salad I touched before. There's a lot of engines that, I mean, they're beginner friendly. They don't throw you into the code. Like
what do you
in
do for-
GameMaker, you don't have to code it.
If you're doing mobile, Android, if you're doing an Android specific mobile game, what would be the engine you'd go with?
I don't know how easy it is to export to Android with GameMaker or Unreal. But maybe I have a build settings and I can go Android.
Oh, nice. It's built.
You can install
find
different
the
modules
module
for it, yeah. But other game engines, they might charge you for the modules. Like GameMaker charges per module. So I have a desktop module for GameMaker, but that's it. I don't have the web build module. I don't have the Mac. I don't have any of those.
Is it buy once or is it subscription?
GameMaker,
Yeah.
I feel like
You have a yearly license or
they
something?
used to be. I think they have both options. You can pay for a set amount of time, or you can pay to own it like forever. Like I bought it when it was on sale. GameMaker Studio 2, the Windows build, and I think it was like $50. I never used it. So I still have it. It's forever, but like I feel like they changed something recently with their model, but I could be wrong. But yeah. With all my stuff, I do a Windows build and a web build, because if you have a web build, then anybody can play it when they go to the browser.
Mhm.
So, and with game jams, it's really helpful because if they can't play your game immediately, they probably won't play it. So, yeah. Yeah, most what I was gonna, I was just showing off other games, but.
On 451 on
Control this, control this.
Yeah.
Turn it on.
Oh, I have the camera zoomed in on you, but it still shows a little small.
Yeah,
You can
it's
plug in,
like, you can't see anything from there.
you plug in the camera.
I can plug it in and see it. Actually, I might have a built-in camera here. Although it might not look very good.
Okay.
Sure. And video, what does video show me? Oh, it shows me right there. You can see it. How do I show it from here? Let me look at this. It's loading still. Later, I'm not myself. Yeah, this game, this little thing is basically the little engine I was showing before, but it has like, the whole typing thing set up on it. And it has like a Bluetooth like plugin. Like it has Bluetooth and plugins that you can do. You can set up all of that. I think I set up this controller actually with Bluetooth before, but it's been like 3 or 4 years since I did it, so I had to do it.
It looks cool.
I like it.
So do
So
you,
it has these little options on there.
you build and play on them?
Yeah, and you can download things from their site that other people made. Do that, you just have to plug it in, I think. So I'm gonna go play People 8.
There's a Raspberry Pi kit as well.
Yeah, Raspberry Pi thing right there. So I can look around. It's gonna be really hard to show. So
You can come from the other way around.
I could.
That way it's facing you and the people.
Well, like put my arms over the thing.
Yeah.
See how it goes. Can't quite see it. Yeah. So you can't really read it, but it says demos right there. And I have my games, and I have game 1. I have this little space shooter thing that I set up. I have an AI that plays it when you're not playing in the menu. So it'll show off most of the game for me. And it does have sounds, but I don't have any audio thing plugged in, so I can't really show the sounds.
That's being plugged into like a headphone or like a.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Bluetooth or a plug-in thing. So I also have, is it a sport? Oh, game 2. I made a quick break game.
Breakout?
Yeah, it also has the AI play it for you if you're not started yet. Yeah, and this looks like this code. So that's what the code looks like. Whole mess.
Oh, it's all compressed.
All
Very
compressed.
specific code.
It's Lua. It's a variation of Lua. So I had to learn all that for this, and it's like, I guess I'll try it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to look up tutorials for Lua, so you kind of have to explore the other games that are on here and mess around with it and see what they did. I think I found a page tutorial that did a space shooter, and then I made mine with that. But also different tabs.
I was gonna ask if it was C++ or C, but you said it was something else.
It's based on Lua. So there's my art assets right there. There's a little bottom little tab. There's the music and sounds. Oh wait. This is the music, and this one is the sounds, which is very weird. But it's cool though, I like it. I need to do more of it. I got a keyboard so I can plug it in up here, so I can just type without taking like an hour to do me typing. But neat little thing. I think I got it for like $60 or something. Not too bad either. Thank you. Oh, let me show this game. Some of you might know this game because they made an actual full version of it afterward. And they released it on like the Switch and stuff. Celeste was made in Pico 8 first.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes. They have little extra things where you can explore like the old style. Do like bonus levels or something. How do I jump in this game?
So it's not uncommon to find a game that goes through like AA or AAA production later on originally started out as something.
There's
like
a lot of
single
games
that they got funding for or something like.
There's a lot of full like indie games that got their start in.
You just gotta talk to a publisher like Annapurna.
What is a jump button?
Or Coffee Stain or something like that. Hey guys, I got this great indie game. Let's
Let's
polish it.
Oh, it's kind of hard to do it while I'm showing.
The more common way is just like pitching it in-house if you're part of the team.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of game studios hiring.
Yeah, but they're hiring for like very specific things, which is frustrating. It's like I'm hiring for senior game developer who has like 4 years of experience and released the game on Steam. It's like, it's very hard to find someone who has all those. Any other questions you want to know about?
Nothing so simple that could be answered here. I want you to know everything, but it would take time.
Everything is a lot.
Well, I was gonna ask you which end you start off from, but I think you already kind of answered that.
I started with Game Maker Studio 1, and after a month, I like experimented and made a little prototype of a game, and then I switched to Unity, and then I did a game jam called One Game a Month. And I made a little space shooter, not like those ones, but like you can go 3D in all directions, go up, down, left, right, move around and stuff like that.
Like asteroids.
Yes, yeah, I think so. But yeah, I made a game like that, and then I finished that one in a month, and I learned the end by the end of the month. And then right after that, I did my first Bloom Dare. It was a very cheatsy game called Lavender Minotaur. The theme was you are the monster. So I made it where you play as the Minotaur in the labyrinth, and Theseus is the one that's hunting you. So he's the bad guy, and he just chases after you. And if he hits a wall, he teleports. I don't know how to do pathfinding, so I just cheese my way through it. So he just teleports, and if he hits you, you lose. And there's random humans you can go around and attack. You better score, I think. I don't know if I even added that much to it, but made it in 3 days, so I still made the thing work in 3 days.
Yeah, right on.
So it was a very simple game, but if you make something, finish it, then it's still better than most people.
Yeah,
So,
for real.
yeah.
All right, 5 o'clock. We
Okay.
should end there. I'm gonna post the thing again. And then people in Zoom, post your student ID, your name, and your Discord name.
Then don't shut down while you're converting again.
I won't.
I'll take the recording too, so I can put it on YouTube or something, maybe.
Um,
I want to do that, come on.